Welcome to MyTruckScales, a product of TruckPay. In MyTruckScales, you'll be able to create your own scales and virtual kiosks instead of having to pay for a metal box to put outside of your current scale that you have. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is you want to create an account like so, or log into a pre-existing account that you may already have. I'm just going to log in right over here into the account that I have for the sake of this demo. And as you can see here, we belong to two companies. To belong to a company, you can either create one and be the administrator of it, or you can be invited by your company employer to be a part of one. When creating a company, you'll select what type of company you are, a scale owner, a trucking company, or an independent owner-operator, or a truck driver. Next, you'll fill out your address. Make sure in this step that you actually click the Google auto-completed version of your address. Don't just type it in yourself, start typing and then click. Your company representative date of birth, that's just the date of birth of the person that's actually signing up for the account right now, as well as your representative's last four digits of their social and the entity type of the company itself. You can give it a name, an email, and a phone as well. Just filling these out just for the sake of you guys being able to see this demo. And then you can just create your new company. So here's a list of the companies that we currently belong to. We can see that we have two scale owner companies and a trucking company. We're going to click on TruckPay, our scale owner company. And as you can see here, we have two scales that we've already created. To create a scale, you'll hit the Create Scale button. But on the menu over here, you can see that we have scales, which is all the scales that you have purchased and you own, and you are just creating virtually. Your tickets, which are all the tickets for the truck drivers that have checked in and weighed on each scale. Invoices are a consolidation of all the tickets that you've gotten for a given time period, and you can pay those if you'd like. Trucking accounts are accounts that you can assign to truck drivers instead of giving them a company credit card. So for instance, if a truck driver was pulling up to a scale, normally they'd have to pay it away. But in this scenario, you can make it a company account scale, in which case you just assign an account number and PIN to your truck driver. They type that in. You never need to give them a credit card or debit card, and then they're able to pay for their weighment. Export data, pretty self-explanatory. You'll be able to export all your ticket data from MyTruckScales to PDF, Excel, or CSV format. Invitations are you being able to invite a company administrator or a truck driver to work for you. And then we have our payment methods. To create a scale, click the Create Scale button. You'll want to select a hardware device that MyTruckScales supports to associate with that scale, and that would be the scale that you actually own. You'd want to give it an easily recognizable name to search for it. SSID and port number that allows the MyTruckScales app to connect to it, and then the address. And just like any address form that we have, you want to type that and then actually click on the Google autocomplete address. That'll automatically fill out the latitude and longitude. Next, you'll want to add in a geofence. This allows us to know if the truck driver is actually at the scale or not. Then you'll want to add a support email in case you want a truck driver to reach out to you or if there's any problems. And lastly, you can enable a weighmaster to be on that scale. In this scenario, if you do enable that, that means that you have a weighmaster at a scale house waiting for the truck drivers to pull onto the scale. And when the truck drivers do pull up, it will automatically show on their phone that they need to go over to the scale master, and the scale master then has to enter in their PIN number to validate the weighment. That PIN is one that you give to them, and you can do that when editing a scale itself. To view your scale, click on the scale itself, and then you'll be brought into the scale's detail page where you can see the name of it, the hardware, the type of string type used for the scale, the SSID and port number, geofence, if a weighmaster is required, the support email. You can modify that scale. You could duplicate it as well in case you want to make the same scale with different kiosks or different attributes on it, and you don't want it to go through all the steps. You can just click the duplicate button, and you'll see a copy of that scale made. And next we have kiosks, which is the most unique part of MyTruckScales. So normally you'd have to purchase a metal box and a kiosk itself with a predefined workflow that you would give to the scale company that is giving you that kiosk, and you would have to define what information you'd like that driver to input before getting their weighment. On MyTruckScales, you'll be able to have multiple kiosks assigned to one different scale itself. And that kiosk will define different workflows. So you'll be able to define the different user interface elements, the different forms, and different types of data that you'd like to collect from that specific truck driver, and just drag and drop things and move it all around. really simply. So instead of having to pay someone to maintain it every single year, you no longer have to do that. You can just drag and drop and move everything around to easily adjust everything. To view a kiosk, you'll just want to click on the kiosk itself, and then you'll be able to see the attributes of that kiosk. You'll be able to see the name and the description of it. You'll be able to see the weigh options, the payment options, and the billing options. For billing, you can select if you'd like the person to pay with a credit card or debit card, or with a customer account, or with a customer account and a PIN. You can view and modify the payment options if it's paid away or company owned, in which case no payment is made, and the cost as well, and the weighment options, where you can decide if you'd like to weigh just the tear and gross or gross only, the weighment units, and also if you'd like to display the weight of the truck after the driver is actually paid for the weight or before. It's entirely up to you, and then you can select the starting ticket number. Each kiosk can have as many pages as you would like, and each page is what the truck driver sees when they go onto the MyTruckScales app and weigh their truck on the scale itself. So what you're doing now is you're creating the workflow. So you give a page a title and a description, which the truck driver will see, and then you'll be able to define what that user interface element is. And a user interface element is just like a text field on the screen, a button on the screen, or a drop down for the truck driver to select from options. And you can customize what you'd like on each of these screens. You can have up to 4 options on each screen if you're doing buttons, or 3 for anything else. You can see that we can select from text fields, alphanumeric only, numeric only, so just numbers and decimals if we'd like, or a date option where you can just select from a date. You can also select from buttons where you can select up to 4 buttons like I was previously saying. And you can define a title for each of those and a subtitle for each of those. And then you can select a drop-down menu, and you can fill out all the values you'd like pertaining to your site. For instance, if you're a quarry and you have different types of materials you'd like the truck driver to select from when asking what's in his truck, you could put whatever you'd like over there. If you'd like to rearrange what information you collect from the driver first, all you have to do is click on a page and drag and drop, and that'll automatically reorder it. So now let's take a look at tickets. So over here we can see scale tickets and driver tickets, and we can select a different date range for each of them. This is just a ticket right over here that I have. I can see the actual full kiosk workflow that the driver went through, what we asked for, and what the driver inputted. Choosing a date range, we can select daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly, and a custom date range. We can just select a custom start and end date. And you can just see we have a couple other tickets over here just to show you. These are fully customizable and fully unique to the workflow on the kiosk. Let's take a look at invoices now. So you can see we have customer, merchant, and MyTruckScale invoices. Merchant invoices are ones that we've gotten from truck drivers actually weighing their truck. MyTruckScale invoices are ones that maybe if we have to pay truck pay ourselves, for instance, if it was a company account kind of payment. So over here you can see a invoice itself, you can see the payment type, the tickets on it, and all the scales basic information, and the company that did the weighments. Taking a look at trucking accounts, as I was saying earlier, when you create a kiosk, you'll be able to create a custom customer account and PIN number for each truck driver. So to do that, what you'll do is you'll enter in the company's email of the user that you actually want to add, and then you'll give an account number and account PIN and decide on what the billing frequency for that billing cycle is and the payment terms, and if it should auto-renew or not. So what you'll do here is once you add this, the trucking company that you've just assigned this to, when they go onto their side of the web portal, they'll see a view that says, instead of trucking accounts, scale accounts. And when they do that, they'll be able to set a payment method so that instead of giving a truck driver a company card, the truck driver will just enter in either just the account number, if you require that, or the account number and PIN number. And then that's the way that he will automatically pay for the weighment. Now looking at export data, you're able to export your data from your scales and kiosks or your invoices. So for right now, we're just going to export some invoices, and we can add our own custom emails for those invoices. So when you export them and someone gets an email, you'll be able to know that the email that they're getting has data that hasn't been tampered with and it came from the TruckPay database. We can view the actual invoice itself by clicking on the View button and scrolling down and seeing the tickets, the amount, how it was paid, when it was paid, and all that good information. And we can export each individual invoice or export all of them at once. And when we do that, we can select to have it sent to those emails that we've specified or not, and select the format, Microsoft Excel, CSV, or PDF format. So now let's take a look at invitations. Invitations are where you will be inviting your company employees to work for you and give them access to the MyTruckScales web dashboard. So over here, what you'll be doing is creating an administrator type if you'd like, or a truck driver type. If you select an administrator, you'll be able to create a user that's just like what we've been doing this entire time, someone who's able to create scales, create invitations, create kiosks, pay invoices, all that fun stuff. If you select a truck driver, then when the truck driver logs onto the MyTruckScales app on their iOS or Android device, they'll be able to automatically connect to a scale, and will automatically know that they are connecting to a company-owned scale when they connect to one, and they will not have to pay for that payment because they are associated with your company. So that is it. That is MyTruckScales. You can add payment methods on the web. You can add payment methods on the app as well. Super simple, like you would on any other platform, just by entering in your credit card number. And that is really it. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you learned a lot. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to support@truckpay.com. It's time to weigh in.